Blitzed and the Bohemians, which I enjoyed thoroughly. Completely different vibe than Blitzed. Blitzed was sexy and exciting. The Bohemians was absolutely heartbreaking. It's that really was that was heartbreaking. I kept looking for the heroic out, and it in a way it did end heroically, but it I don't know where I'm going with this. What excuse that, I was shaving this morning, cut myself. What what was the feeling you got when writing it?
Well, I agree with you. It's not as funny as Blitz, even though Blitz is also a serious book.
Yeah.
It has a lot of humor, and I think it is actually an important aspect of that book. The Bohemians is not funny. It's more tragic.
Yeah.
It's a drama.
Yeah.
It tells the tale of mainly two people, but also their circle of friends.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a panorama of Berlin life in the late 30s and early 40s.
Mm-hmm.
And they did enjoy their life, actually,
Yeah.
even though they were in the resistance. They had parties and what have you. So they were leading quite a liberal and free life, actually, in the dictatorship.
Yeah.
So I think their story also is uplifting. But it is also, dark and serious, and it wasn't easy for them to exist during the dictatorship and do something against it at the same time.
Yeah. And I loved, it's this weird, ironically enough, you can draw parallels between reportedly how Ava Braun acted in like the final days, right? She was, let's dance, let's sing, let's drink, let's have parties. And they kind of were just, hey, like, we're all screwed, like, let's live it up. You could kind of get that vibe from the Bohemians, right? It was polyamorous, it was writing, it was music, it was just sailing, all the while this demonic dictatorship is is coiling around the country. But that's what I loved about it, was like Haho, he is this guy that is apparently just like handsome as hell, he's brilliant, he's tough, but he just, the entire time, he keeps doubling down and tripling down and quadrupling down, just like he's not gonna stop. And I love how he just, instead of just like, let's fight back, let's go, do a hit and run, let's go fire some pot shots, he goes full like James Bond and is like, I'm gonna join the Luftwaffe, I'm gonna go get a job high up, I was like, holy shit, the balls on this guy, right?
Yeah, he's very brave.
Yeah, he just keeps going farther and farther in. And it kind of gave me vibes of Man in the High Castle. In just everyone's a suspect, right? It's everything's hiding, I don't know what you're talking about, and then, oh, you mean this suitcase? And he takes it out, like, how could I have forgotten about this? And it's terrifying, but it's also, I like Haho's sort of almost not resignation, but kind of resignation. He just goes into it just accepting that he's not going to grow old, right? He goes into it just, this is the end. This is how I go.
Just a second. Can we interrupt?
You are quite all right. You are quite all right. I'll monologue.
I'll be right back.
You're quite all right. For everyone listening, Norman's daughter came in. The Bohemians by Norman. Oops, wrong book. Bohemians by Norman Ohler. Same author as Blitzed. It's fantastic. It's heartbreaking, but it's the story of just, it's a couple, a super liberal progressive couple, just artistic writing, philosophizing, kind of living an unconventional life. They were they were dissolving the accepted gender roles 80 years before it was common, right? And all the while, they're fighting a fascist dictatorship. And Haho shoots a poison, the main character, gets he kind of gets caught up. He kind of gets caught and beat early on, and goes in and joins the Luftwaffe. Norman's back. I was gonna say, it's almost kind of like, you know, it's like that saying, "I was doing this before it was cool." Haho is they're dissolving the accepted gender roles 75 years before it became cool, right? In terms of
we had the 60s cultural revolution in America and in Germany.
Yeah.
So some of the things that everyone thought was shocking during those times was already, you know, executed or practiced by Havel and his friends. Most dictatorship of all time. So they were quite far out, actually.
Yeah. And it's, for me, what it was is, normally when, you know, whenever I'd view something like a resistance during any sort of dictatorship or under any totalitarian rule, it always seemed kind of in vain. It was like, if we're gonna take on this empire, you're gonna do it with 1,000 tanks, a bunch of bombers, right? It's gonna be a nation's gonna come and get it. It always seemed like, you know, that's how Germany fell, that's how Japan fell. But with this was really the first-hand account, right? I mean, it's a 9-hour book on Audible. This is the first time I've really sat down and gone into what the resistance consists of, and it's almost like that saying, watch your pennies and the dollars will take care of themselves, right? Don't wait for the big paycheck. Just, you know, buy the off-brand label, and next thing you know, you'll realize your savings are going up. That's the vibe I got from it, was like, don't wait for D-Day. Don't wait for the Americans. Don't wait for the Red Army. It's what Haho kept saying. If enough people just act, right? It starts to poke holes in it.
I mean, it's interesting to try to figure out what can you actually do against such an oppressive regime. And he just, I mean, the easiest answer for him was, I have to do something. And so they tried different techniques. They did a lot of different things. It's as you said, they just you know, on a daily basis opposed the totalitarian right-wing racist way of life. So that's what was impressive to me, you know, it's not that I don't know, maybe we can learn from them. I suppose we can learn from them. I mean, we live in different times, but we also live in challenging times.
Absolutely.
So it's interesting to concern yourself with the topics of resistance or nonconformist lifestyle.
And it's one thing I had to remind myself, and I have to do this with every historical book, including Blitzed, which is, by the way, I've had several people listen to that because of this podcast, and they loved it. I had one guy I know from work, and I was like, "Did you watch the episode?" And he pulls it up on his phone. He pulls up Audible, and he goes, "I've barely been sleeping, man. I've been listening to this." And I was like, "Hell yeah, hell yeah!" But it's. I forgot what I was saying. I completely lost my train of thought. Yeah, it's what they're doing daily life is just slowly poking holes in it. And so in hindsight, I always have to remember this. Yeah, this is where I'm going. I always have to remember this, whether it's Blitzed or whether it's Bohemians, is that I'm looking at it from 2020. Or more importantly, not even 2020. I'm looking at it from post 1945. I know what happened. You have to go in their shoes, and they didn't know what happened. There was no liberation of the concentration camps. There was no, A-bombs in Japan. This is years before. It wasn't guaranteed that this was going to happen. It was, was Hitler going to commit suicide, or was Hitler going to rule for 8 decades? It was, and when you put yourself in that mindset, you realize, oh, holy crap, like, they really were just, standing in front of the forced fire of fascism, and were just like, they had a little water bottle, but they're like, if enough people take out it's like the quote, no single water droplet thinks it's responsible for the flood, right? But it's it's a little bit does it, and and Haho saw it, right? I mean, Haho saw it. He said, I believe before 39. He said, what you say? He could feel like the rumblings in the metaphorical earth that war is coming, and he was spot on.
He felt it. He felt it. I think already in 34 that war was coming, because he was sure that the fascist system is going for an armed confrontation. So he was very. It's like a prophet in a way.
Yeah, and
he kind of knew the future.
Yeah, he was.
And I think he also knew his own possible future, but he wasn't afraid.
Yeah,
he was taking it into, account. So he was probably one of the bravest people you can meet. So
absolutely,
that's what makes the story also quite interesting and gripping. For me to research it and for you to read it, hopefully.
It's prophetic and even fatalistic. I definitely get that vibe from Haho. Is that he kind of looked at it and was like, this is the hill I'm dying on, right? It was, what did he say when he was flying? It was he was I'll do what I can until I realize that I have to land an abandoned ship and basically go just run into the metaphorical fire. But it was, and almost you could draw, really stretching, but you could draw some comparisons to Buddha, right? Siddhartha Gautama, right? Because he was born into a really rich family, had everything, and then went out into the world of suffering. Well, Haho was marrying into wealth, and connections, right? Connections to Bormon through his I guess fiance and fiance's family. He could have, no pun intended, he could have just gotten lockstep and marched along. He would have been part of the elite. He probably would have been, shooting up Yugoslav with Hitler if he really wanted to, right? He could have lived a partying life, but he walked into the fire, which is just insane. And it's another sort of thing that really stuck out to me was, it's throughout history, at least throughout the 20th century, there are always stories of, the secret police threatening your family or something. If you talk about this, if you say this, we're going to kill your family. And it's easier said than done. But I've always thought, if that would happen, I think you'd almost have to continue with what you're doing and let them kill your family. Because if they're threatening to kill your family now to keep it quiet, then they are going to be willing to kill everyone's family when it is advantageous to them. And Haho saw that when his friend was beat to death or his heart gave out. That's what he keeps going back. He saw it. He has the kidney stones. He was like, he's like, I've already seen it. It will not stop. And the only reason it's not ubiquitous right now is because they still haven't seized complete power.
Yeah, I think you're right.
It's crazy. And then the balls on Haho that he writes that message in the cigarettes when the guy's getting interrogated. For everyone, there's spoiler alert for everyone listening. At one point, there's another resistance guy being interrogated, but Haho's part of the institution now, doing the interrogating. He comes in and he offers the poor chap a cigarette. And then he asks the SS guard, do you mind if I give him a cigarette? No, why would I care? Do you mind if I give him the whole pack? No, why would I care? And Haho goes in and he flips open the thing, and there's written right there as code for basically, be cool, I'm on your side. I was like, holy shit. This is some James Bond stuff. It's, yeah.
Did you actually enjoy to listen to it?
I did.
Did you also listen to Blitz, or did you read it?
I listened to Blitz. I listened to both of them.
Mm-hmm. And is the narration good?
Narration's good. It's not the same guy, but it's good. Yeah,
okay.
I knew you were gonna ask that. It's good. But they're also, the books entirely are apples and oranges.
Yeah,
There really are. when I first finished it, I was writing you an email, and I was saying the Bohemians was awesome, but I realized as I was typing that, I was like, that's not the right word for it, right? Because Blitzed is crazy. Blitzed is a frat house on meth, literally and figuratively. Bohemians is entirely different. It's not. It's romantic. We're all gonna die. It's kind of the vibes I get from it is it's the deck of the Titanic almost.
Yeah, kind of actually.
Yeah, it's going down. The chairs are sliding. Might as well keep playing the music, right? We're all going into the icy water. Might as well try to keep it afloat. I have to ask. So, how did you research it? Because
I mean, I just got a call before we went on the podcast now from Hans Copy, who's actually in the book. Yeah. So his parents were friends of Haro and Libertas, and he's a 78-year-old gentleman now in Berlin. So his parents were, part of the group and killed by the Nazis. Right after he was born in the Gestapo prison in Berlin in 1942. Was raised by his grandmother. And later he became a historian, and he collected documents throughout his life about the group, and was even able to go into the Soviet archives in the early 90s when Gorbachev opened the whole country, the Soviet Union, and also the archives for a brief moment in time. So he collected a lot of valuable information, and it is now stored in the German, it's called, it's like the official memorial for resistance in Berlin. It's not open, the archives are not open to the public, but through becoming friends with Hans Copy, I was able to get into these archives and get a lot of materials. But I also met a few other children of former resistance people from the group. Like I was able to meet 3 or 4, descendants of some of those that were part of the resistance work. And they had all specific information, documents from their parents. And so I puzzled it together. It was like a historical detective work in a way, because when Hitler found out about the Bohemians, he ordered that not only that, they should be destroyed, but also their stories shall be destroyed and forgotten. So he ordered the destruction of all the documents, like the Gestapo interrogations of Haro and Libertas, and some others are gone. But since we're in Germany, we keep a lot of records. Basically, every time you go to the toilet, there's a record being made, at least in Nazi Germany. So they didn't destroy everything, so quite a lot actually did survive, and I was able through meticulous research to put together this story.
I love the imagery of now you, Norman Ohler, in a sense, being a resistance fighter, because if Hitler was, like you said, it's not enough that they die, right? It's they used to do that whenever there would be when they'd find resistance fighters in Poland. They'd kill everyone in the village, they'd burn the houses, and then they'd bulldoze it. They wanted to erase it, and Hitler tries to erase everything, and yet 75 years later pops up on an audiobook, and it's like, nope, you didn't win. And it's, but yeah, that's very 1984 kind of imagery, right? From the what would they do in 1984? It's they burn or incinerate, or they completely get rid, right? The party's never wrong. It's who controls the past controls the future. Who controls the present controls the past. Hitler was, it's not enough that they're gone. They're gone forever, and you will never say his name. You will never talk about them. And yet it's still, it seeps through. And
Yeah, even his parents, Harrow's parents, were not allowed to talk about the death of their son.
Yeah.
They were threatened with concentration camp if they ever spoke about the execution of the children. So that's quite radical.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's insane.
That is insane.
So, I mean, we can wonder, how many stories actually have been erased and forgotten.
That's what I was getting to.
Maybe the Bohemians is just one example of, many other stories or people that were brave.
Yeah.
So it's important that one survived.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to, was how many stories were stamped out. How many were effectively incinerated, just completely wiped off the map. And they kind of exist in that void of no one ever knows except those who were involved, right? How many inside men, like Haho, how many inside men were in there that were instrumental in taking down the Reich, but whose stories were effectively removed from the face of the earth? Not that they're classified, that they're gone. I mean, there could be things that we will never know. It's, we know about Operation Valkyrie, sure, but like, who knows what else happened? How many people were feeding wrong information to the Luftwaffe, or to, something we talked about, Dr. Morel? Like, how many figures like that are there who were not the famous person, but right next to them, right? What the secretary tricked them into, tricked Libertas into thinking, right? She's not one of them. How many were actually like that, though? Not a facade. How many secretaries were there? How many, people doing the tattoos of the concentration camps? How many people did slowly switch something that could have, the butterfly effect, completely altered the war? But there's a lot of power in destroying those stories to disillusion anyone from taking up a resistance of their own. But the ones that slip through have a profound effect. The Buddhist lighting himself on fire, Tank Man in Tiananmen Square, right? There are a lot of them that their image slips through and it kind of echoes across the decades, and it inspires people in future dictatorships to rise up against it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's absolutely beautiful. I loved it. And I love that there was a funny part, and you go back to Bormann, because it's as soon as you started describing him, it was the same thing that made me laugh so hard in Blitzed. It's just this fat dude with these flowing silk shirts and a Celtic belt and nail polish, and high as a kite on morphine. And I loved how you slipped Bormann into there, and I was like, yes, he's back. The moron's back. But yeah, I think we talked about it last time. What's on the horizon for you? What are you working on? Or is that, you got to keep that quiet?
Well, I have to keep it quiet because
you're killing me. I got you.
I hope you understand.
I understand.
I still have to figure out myself.
I understand.
It will be again.
I understand.
I will be again concerned with history.
I would hope so. If you stopped writing, I would be very upset. I'd be extremely.
I want to write a book about Trump's drug history, but
dude, yes, please do.
I would really need a good source material.
Yeah.
Because I think there's also a lot of speculation, so maybe that has to wait a little while until the files are.
Yeah.
Get to the files.
There's no way he's not on some Adderall or ephedrine or something.
Will this podcast be aired after the elections?
Before. Do you want it before or after? Does it matter?
I don't know. I'm just curious.
Oh, I know. I'll put it up today.
Okay, good.
Yeah, there's no way. I don't care what anyone says, man. There's no way that guy's not on some drugs, man. You have to be.
Yeah.
I mean, he's what, 73, 74? He's doing a rally every day? I'm not hating on it, man. Stimulants are great, but I mean, come on. The idea that you don't touch anything, get out of here. Get it. You're the president. You got your own team of doctors. Pfft.
Yeah, he's not drinking.
Yeah, you're not drinking. Okay, I'll give him. Sure, maybe not. Maybe whatever. I don't drink, so maybe maybe he doesn't.
Yeah.
But the idea that you're not running the
Just keep that stronger stuff than drinks.
Yeah, it's there's no way you don't have a doctor giving you the good stuff, right? You got the whole government at your disposal. You got all those classified drugs. You can do whatever you want.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, absolutely it is.
So what do you think is going to be the outcome?
I can genuinely say I have no idea. I can genuinely, I can truly, 2008, I was 18. I felt like I knew Obama was going to win, and he did. 2012, I knew Obama was going to win, and he did. 2016, I thought Bernie was going to get the nomination. And when he didn't, that's when it went out the window. Then it was, okay, you know, political dynasty, Clinton. But then it was just sort of perfect storm, wild card, Trump. I was surprised when Trump won, but it did seem like it was possible. I have no idea. I can truly say I have no idea.
I think most people don't have an idea right now.
I think
it's very cool.
Yeah, I don't think it will be what anyone thinks it will be. I think there's no way the election's called on the actual day. I guarantee you this thing's going to go to the Supreme Court. They've both built up armies of lawyers. There's going to be riots. It's going to go to the Supreme Court. It's going to be recounts. I think if it's delayed, and I think Nancy Pelosi becomes president if it goes past a certain number of days. It's going to be no, but really, that's the line of succession. If it goes past X number of days, technically she becomes, or Trump is president until January 19th, and then she will become like temporary president. It's going to be something insane. I really don't know. There is something that's good, that there is an objective good that's come out of all of this. More people are voting than ever before. So to me, and this is my stance, and my friends on the left and my friends on the right, neither will like this statement, but I truly think whoever wins it will be good, because so many people have voted that whoever wins, it will just be, hey, everyone voted. You know, there's going to be no more, well, 50% of eligible voters didn't vote. It's going to be whoever voted, if it's I like them or not. If they win.
Have you already voted?
I have not. Voting Monday. And I'm still, I can genuinely say I'm still undecided. There's a part of me that thinks I just need to vote third party, because I don't think this back and forth is going to keep working. I don't know yet. What do you think?
Oh, I really don't know. I'm of your opinion. I really don't know. I hope it. I mean, the worst thing would be a civil war in the United States. Running against each other.
Yeah.
Do you think that's a possibility?
So I've had on some former Special Forces guys talking about that, and they said that they do think that's a high possibility, but it will be pockets of violence. It will be pockets of violence, and it will almost serve to inhibit further violence, because we're going to see it sort of pop off, and a bunch of people are going to get killed, and I think it's going to kind of cool the air. Everyone's going to be like, holy shit, this is real. There are dead bodies. Hopefully it'll slow down. But if it does, I think it will be far right and far left pockets of extremely radicalized people are gonna.
But is the far left armed enough to fight the far right?
Unconventionally, you could. You're right. Not with firearms. But I mean, shit. You know, you go buy the right ingredients from Home Depot. You can make a bomb, or just get in a car. You know.
Yeah.
It will be, or just mob in general. A mob mentality. You know, you get 100 people go rush a house. Doesn't matter if they have a gun. Regardless, I think there's a possibility it could pop off. I don't see a full-blown country melting down. I don't think that's maybe I'm optimistic. I don't know. It's 2020 after all. I feel like anything could happen. But
pretty crazy year.
You know, I was thinking kind of on the lines of Blitzed. maybe we really we will see some real life chemtrails. You know, that I hate it, that conspiracy of dumping drugs into the atmosphere. Maybe if it gets too crazy, maybe you just put some planes up there and start dispersing some Valium or something. Chill everybody out. You know,
not LSD, please.
Not LSD. Actually, I'm for the LSD. I'm for, let's just do it. It will be madness, but maybe we'll come out on the other side and enlighten society, or we'll fire all the nukes. Either way.
So you've studied MK Ultra and all this stuff?
I have, and I'm waiting for you to write a book on it, because you teased me with that last time. You asked me about Fort Detrick. And now you're not saying anything, so I tend to think it's something along those lines, but I don't want to press, so I'm not going to. I've run you for my 30 minutes. I know I said I'd let you go. I've knocked out Blitzed and Bohemians. What is your favorite work?
Aside of the two, or of my work in general?
Of your work in general. Because Norman, you're coming on it. You're coming on a third time in a month. I'm gonna read another book, and you're gonna come on. You don't have a say in the matter.
Well, your problem is that I only have 2 books in English out right now.
There's got to be a translation, right?
There's a novel that I wrote. It's called Ponty City. You might be able to get that, but it was published by a South African company a long time ago. So that's in English. So that could be the next book you could read.
Okay.
Ponty City. It's about South Africa. But in general, I would say, I asked my friend Wim Wenders once, what's the favorite film you made? And he basically said, I can't really say. Like, every film is like my child.
Yeah.
Can you say this is my favorite child?
Sure.
No. I do like the Bohemians, but obviously, because it's my newest book, and I think it's in a way well made.
Yeah.
It's a difficult book to write, to really reconstruct the lives of these people.
Yes.
But obviously, it's hard to surpass Blitz with all its, craziness.
Yeah.
But I think you would be right with saying, if it was possible to write another Blitz about, maybe MK Ultra or that whole, world, post-war world.
Yes.
I think would be an interesting challenge.
Oh my God, that would be amazing. That would be amazing. I told you, I think Blitz needs to be a trilogy. I think you need to do an alcohol and the rise of the Third Reich, right? SA, SS, that sort of gregarious glue of a drug, and then Blitz centerpiece, and then you just gotta go full MK Ultra, LSD.
Yeah.
Maybe tie that into the 60s, right? Did it leak out? Is that what caused the 60s? In a way, you could almost kind of argue the 60s was like let's just toy with the idea that COVID-19 was a weapon, because we know bioweapons exist. Let's just put on our tinfoil hats. Yeah. And what if it accidentally leaked out of a lab and it caused a pandemic? If LSD was being weaponized or studied in MK Ultra, god damn if it doesn't seem like it seeped out and then like a pandemic ran from the west.
Yeah, I guess LSD created a pandemic.
Yeah.
The whole drug culture.
Yeah, it leaked out and accidentally created the Beatles and the Grateful Dead and turn on, tune in, drop out.
So you think the alcohol book should stop in 33, or it should?
I don't necessarily think that it should stop at a specific date. I think that you should start with it and overlap into Blitzed, but I think that alcohol had a very strong. You even said it deserves a book in its own right? Because you talk about all the coke use. We snort, we inject. Berlin. Berlin, take a breath, be mindful your dance partner's death. Like, I think there is a huge history in alcohol that you need to.
That's true.
I feel like that's the only way you can form the SS and the SA is you get a bunch of 18-year-olds full of testosterone, get them drunk as shit, wave the flag, boom. Now you have a dictatorship.
No, I think we'll speak more often.
Yeah, you need to, Norman. Okay, I'll let you go. Norman Ohler, author of Bohemians and Blitzed, and who is allegedly, I'm putting words in his mouth, going to write a book about MK Ultra. So now you have to. I'm going to build up hype for it, and now you're going to have to deliver.
I wish you all the best for the next couple of days, and thanks for having me again on your podcast.
Well,
let's see how it all pans out in the United States of America.
Well, thank you for coming on, Norman, and thank you for your well wishes. I need it. Let's hope that it works out well. Let's hope it doesn't dissolve into anarchy. And if it does, and a dictatorship forms, I'm just going to be the next Haho. You can write a book about me. I'll sneak you my hard drives. I'll take podcasts in private. I'll film the troops in the street, and I'll mail it to you. And you can tell my story in 40 years. All right, Norman. I will link your book in the top comment and in the description. It's a fantastic book. Everybody get it. If you haven't listened to Blitz, listen to it. If you haven't listened to Bohemians, listen to it. Norman Ohler, you heard it here first. He's writing a book on MK Ultra. Don't deny it, Norman.
Thank you. Have a good day.
All right, my man. God bless. Take care. Till next time.
Bye.
Bye-bye.